Hey everyone, welcome to Motorcycology. My name's Jonathan. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a cleanup on the top of this CRX and on the inside, and just trying to make a little bit of space here because I want to move on with some interior projects on this CRX. Plus, I'm going to be removing the hood off my C3 Corvette, and I need a place to put it, so I'm going to be putting it on the roof of this car. The big project is going to be taking the hood off the Corvette, but I'm not going to do that today, but that's what I'm getting set up for. But I want to tidy this up and make a little bit more room because I really need to get on with this project. As you can see over here, I've got the C3 Corvette, and that's what I need to get off because I need to get to work. I've got to replace the bushings on the upper control arms. I also need to take off the fan shroud and the radiator and probably the water pump as well. So I've got those things lined up to do. First of all, I need to take that hood off, but over here is where I'm going to be putting the hood on top of that CRX. So to get ready, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a cleanup on that, and hopefully I'll show you some of the cool things about the CRX as I go through that as well. So basically a tidy up and getting ready for the project. Stick around, enjoy the video, and let's get started. So here I am back here, got to get rid of some of this stuff, tidy up, and then I'll start showing some cool parts about this car that I've been working on and what I plan on doing. So I'm going to start getting to work on getting some of this stuff cleared up. Always super handy to have. So here is the engine bay on this thing. Still has some original stickers on it, which is nice to see. And once again, it's exactly the same as my other 1987. This one is a little bit dirtier. It's got some more dust on it, but everything works fine on it. And we're going to get this thing up and running as soon as the weather is warm enough outside. This front plastic part here, I've already taken that off and I've fiberglassed underneath of it. So it's reinforced fiberglass underneath this. This can be fixed with some body filler and things like that. But as far as this part is done, it's all fiberglass and reinforced on the inside. So that'll be good to go. I've done the same with the fenders as well. Fiberglass those things on the inside, and hopefully they'll be good to go as well. So a year ago, all this has been fabricated by me. So this is all welded in parts so that this wheel well will be good to go. So I'm still going to grind it down, but this has been totally repaired And once I put the insert in there and the outer fender, this will be good to go. So originally this had been all rusted out. It's now fixed. So here we are back in the CRX. Got some body parts over there, fenders, and everything that has been welded on the floorboards here. It's also been double welded, so underneath, or on the part that's going to be facing the ground, it's done as well. So you can see that there is some significant rust repair that still needs to be done. It's cut out. This stuff needs to be welded in. Not going to do that right now because that is the gas tank and I have to lower that. But I've cut out some spots in there as well. And other parts that I have managed to get done are parts like this. Nicely done. And various other areas. So I'm working my way up the left side and I'll be moving on to some other areas on the right side in the springtime. And then I've also welded down there, all this bottom part here has been redone, and underneath there as well. So this is going to be covered with a plastic cover, which is typical on the CRXs. So it looks just like this thing. It's just another plastic panel that goes in there. So all these things, when they're ground down and painted, you're not going to see them. One of the toughest things to do was this wheel arch here, and I still need to do a little bit more shaping on it and some grinding. It will obviously require some body filler to get it done properly, but it's not too bad, and it's a lot better than it being rusted out, that's for sure. So yeah, lots of work done and lots of work still to be done. There's definitely a lot of work ahead on this, but I can tell you that all the struts, all the shocks, and the brakes are all redone, and they're good to go. Most of it is just cosmetic. So you can imagine when this is done and the floorboards are completed, I'm going to lightly grind it down. Then I'm going to cover it with some soundproof, and then I'm going to put in some brand new blue carpet, which is the original match. So it will look way, way better. Other good things about this car is the headliner is perfect. There is not any damages on that whatsoever. So it is an amazing looking headliner. The other good area is that there is no signs of rust above the floorboards. So all the doors are in pristine condition, as is the hatchback and the metal around there. So it's really about taking care of the floorboards and getting those things done. I have some Corvette parts in here, which is all new brake line. This is a rear brake line. It goes over the differential. Some more front brake lines. And more brake lines. So I'm just going to set those aside somewhere. So I'm going to leave this as it is. This has sheet metal that I'm using underneath. Got my Corvette mufflers, and I've got some tools that are stashed over here, and another Corvette tire up here. I also have a complete C3 frame here, which is in awesome condition. Not too sure what I want to do with that. So I just wanted to show some of the condition of around the hatchback is in great shape. No rust. And also this part up here. So lots of good stuff on here. Let's clean it up a little bit on the inside. I'm going to use this as a general purpose cleaner, only because we're not using it at home right now, so might as well use it for something good. So, a few things to show you. This is the steering wheel. It's pretty easy, just screws onto this thing. Sits in there like so. And then it's just a matter of screwing that back on and putting the Honda thing back on it, and you're good to go. A couple other parts I have in here is some body molding from the bottom. And this is all plastic, silver. It covers up some of the welding areas that I've done, so happy with that, and I will be putting that back on. The other part I have here is one of the fenders that I've worked on. So this fender is made out of like Bakelite or something, and it still has a crack in it, but I will Dremel that out and then I'll fill it with some fiber body filler. The other side of it here has been totally fiberglass and reinforced, so I did that, and that gives it the strength. These kind of Bakelite fenders are impossible to find, so it's well worth the attempt to try and fix them. And if that's only what's wrong with it, I can easily fix it, strengthen it up, and get it ready to go. Alright, those parts are there. Now it gives me a little bit of an opportunity to get in here, clean the dash up. It's just an all-purpose cleaner. You get the dust off it really, really quickly. Even though this car is apart, I still take care of it, and normally it isn't dusty, but I was doing some grinding on the Corvette, so some dust got in here. So we like to keep this as nice looking inside, and it helps keep you motivated that your project is going to get done, opposed to it not getting done. It's got like an ashtray there. Aftermarket radio. I'd love to find the original radio someday. There certainly isn't a lot of room inside here to move around when the seats are out, so it is a little bit cramped, but generally I'm not inside cleaning it up too much. So what I need to do in the springtime is I'll be rolling this car out. I'll be turning it around so that I can work on the right side. The left side is basically done as far as the welding, so I'm happy with that. if I can get this door done quickly. Another thing is I do have the original owner's manual for this vehicle, and I'll show you that as part of this video. So it's pretty interesting to have the documentation that goes with it. So I would say this car has been out of commission for close to 8 years. I think I bought it in around 2013, and I had it in storage or indoor storage for a while until I decided that I wanted to restore it. I'm really happy I have it, and I'm motivated to get it done. They're cool little classic cars. And of course they're standard as well. So that's the car as it is right now. It's a little bit cleaner. The dust is gone. And now I can move on to some other work. So that's what it's looking like now. Clean, the dust is off it. It's going to be ready to go. And I've also got the rest of the car done, so I'll show you that in a sec. Oh yeah, and going back to the other video, there's the choke retaining nut that I did, which is awesome. That's in there, good to go. Happy with that. What I'm going to do now is put on a padded cover on the top of the roof of the CRX so that I can put the Corvette hood on it. So this is how I want to leave it at the moment, with this cover on it, so that I'll be able to move the big hood over sometime soon. So that is my goal, is to take off the hood from this beautiful Corvette and stick it over on top of this guy here. Okay, to accompany the video of this silver 1987 CRX, I've got some documentation that is really going to be useful in the restoration and maintenance of this older car. So the first document, which I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, is the actual original owner's manual. With that, you've got the original owner's manual. They don't necessarily call it a CRX, but they call it a Civic Coupe. And it's filled with all your typical things that you would want to see in an owner's manual. And it's super useful, especially if this type of documentation is not available. To have this has a whole bunch of useful things in it, which will certainly come in handy in the future. And, you know, it's all, as far as pictures and diagrams, it's all related to the CRX. And you can see in this picture, you've got the body, some of the dash, and here is also, you know, the dash as well. So great to have that user's manual, the original one that came with the car. For me, other things which are really important to have as well are the following. So first of all, this is probably as old as the car itself. So it features the CRX, and has all the general maintenance stuff to a very specific level of detail that is really useful to have as well. So you name it: brakes, engine, transmission, suspension, body, steering, electrical, everything is in there. And I've referred to this a few times as I've gone through some of the engine work with it. Great to have, and a great accompanying piece of documentation to that vehicle. So I've got that, and I also have a few other things. This is the original Honda troubleshooting manual for the electrical stuff. It's a little bit more detailed, but at least it's accurate and, you know, gives you information. This is behind the dash, let's say, the instrument cluster. So everything that you need to know to get into some very specific electrical details with it. So definitely happy to have this. So this is an original Honda manual. This Haynes manual is also super useful. So my cars are 1986, 1987. It has all the general stuff to do with Honda Civics, which the CRX is a Civic. So awesome. Great direction on anything to do with engines, brakes, electrical, you name it. It's all in here. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with Haynes manuals. So happy to have that as well. And finally, to support me in what I'm doing, is this great big book here, which is probably also about as old as these vehicles. And inside of it, there's an area for Civics, which is here. And you can see, once again, they detail the type of instrument cluster that a CRX has. And there's not a whole ton of information in here, but there's certainly enough extra guidance in there that it could be really useful as well. So they have this available for all imported types of vehicles around that time period. So great to have this as part of the collection as well. So between all the documentation that I have, including that, this, that manual there, and the original documentation, I'm pretty good to go. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. So as you can see, I'm making progress to getting this thing in a position where I'm able to do some more welding on the right side. Also, for a short period of time, I got to get that Corvette hood off and put on top of that CRX for the next few months anyway, or until I find another place to put the Corvette hood. So the number one priority I have is to move on with Corvette work. In my spare time, I'm going to be working on this CRX. I've also got another highlight coming up where I am going to fly out west and grab that red CRX, and I'm going to drive it about 5,000 kilometers next month to see how that goes. So stick around for that. Once again, I really appreciate you guys stopping in and checking out some of the work that I'm doing on the Corvettes and the Hondas. It's greatly appreciated. If you do like this type of stuff, consider subscribing. That would be awesome. Help me build the channel and give me some further motivation to do interesting and cool stuff. I really appreciate your comments as well. They're very interesting and very relevant. I try really hard to respond to each and every comment that you have, and it keeps me motivated. It provides additional interest to the content of the videos, and once again, it's greatly appreciated. So looking at that picture behind me, that's my end state. I want to get that silver CRX, which is more or less intact and on the road again. Not too sure what I'm going to do with it. Kind of wanted to give it to one of my kids, or maybe if anyone else is interested in it, give me a shout and it could be available. So thanks again. We'll catch you in the next video, which is going to be very soon.